Hey everybody, today I'm going to make some tortilla soup, and the first time that my family had it was quite a few years ago at a church function, and a lady made it and we just thoroughly loved it, and so I'm going to make it. And the lady made it with hamburger, and I don't have any ground beef, so I'm going to do it. If you saw my latest grocery haul, the rotisserie chicken breast, I have shredded that up because Randy has to have most all his food shredded up, and so I'm going to use that for the protein, and then the beans and all. You'll see as we put it together, and so that's going to be our supper. So here's the pan. It's hard to get a good angle on this, but this is the pot I'm going to cook it in. And what I'm going to do is turn the pot on high, and then I'm going to spray it real well with cooking spray. And in a moment, when it starts heating up, I'm going to put some of the vegetables in there. It's considered kind of a dry pan because I'm not going to put any oil. But it, depending on how long I leave the vegetables in there, they may get a little roasted, and that's what I want because it is a really good flavor in your, well, any dish you make, but in the tortilla soup. So I'll show you what I'm gonna make, what I'm gonna put in the tortilla soup, and here is some cut up green pepper and some diced onion and some diced celery. And I'm going to let all this cook long enough till it's pretty much mushy, because like I say, if any food that I give Randy has any kind of hardness or fight to it, he says he can't eat it. And then here are the two chicken breasts that have been shredded up. I'm going to put a can of corn, and I'm going to leave the broth in it. And I have drained kidney beans. This is a 19-ounce can of kidney beans, and then a 29-ounce can of black beans. And so this is getting hot enough, so I'm going to go ahead and put these vegetables in and let them be roasting just a little bit. And I'm just leaving that on high. It won't be on there that long. Also, I'm going to use a can of tomato sauce, a can of the diced tomatoes, and this has basil, garlic, and oregano in it. And then for the seasonings, I'm going to put some cilantro, some chili powder. This is like a taco seasoning. When you buy the kit, this is the taco seasoning out of it that I'm going to put in. Stir your vegetables around every little bit. I'm going to put a little bit of Old Bay because I like that little bit of kick that it gives. Some cumin and some turmeric, or turmeric, however you say it. Oh yeah, and I'm going to put some of this, it's tomato bouillon with chicken flavor. I decided to use this since I'm using the onion, not the onion, the tomato sauce in it. And so, this smells so good, these vegetables. And they've gotten some of them have gotten just a little bit brown. Let me see, if I cut the fan on, you might not be able to hear me, but maybe you'd be able to see. I don't know if you can see or not, but the bottom of the pan's starting to get pretty brown, so I'm going to go ahead and add the corn, the diced tomatoes, and the tomato sauce. I'm going to put a little water in here. I put a whole can of water. You can make this with as much broth as you want. You don't have to, I'm going to cut that off. You don't have to use the amount I'm using, and you don't have to use the same vegetables and seasonings that I'm using. You use what works for your family. And I'm putting some of this chicken tomato bouillon in this can. Then I'm going to add some water to it. And I'm putting probably about a tablespoon and a half. Now I'm going to fill it up with water. Not quite filled it up. So now I'm going to go ahead and throw in the chicken. As you can see, my paper plate fell apart. Then in here is the black beans and the kidney beans. So I'm putting those in. I'm going to put in the Mexican seasoning flavor packet. If I can find, here it is, my knife to get it open. The cilantro, and I'm going to do about a tablespoon of it, and probably a tablespoon of chili powder. That might be just a little bit more, but that's okay. And the turmeric, that's about 3/4 of a tablespoon. The cumin, about a tablespoon. And the Old Bay, about 1/2 tablespoon. I believe that that is everything. And so I'm just going to stir it up. And I'm going to let it simmer on just where it's barely bubbling for a few hours, so that everything will get good and tender. And maybe an hour before I think I'm ready to eat, I'll taste it and see if I need to add more water, see how much is boiled out of it and see if the seasonings are good. And I'm going to cover this, and like I say, I'm going to let it get to a very gentle simmer. Let it go about 3 hours, and I'll see you back. We're back, and the tortilla soup is finished, and I want to tell you, the kitchen smells so good. And after it cooked a little while, I tasted the broth, and I had to go back and keep tasting it just because it was so good. It's really delicious. I didn't add anything else to it. And Cailyn is a very, very picky eater, and so she asked what was for supper when I picked her up from school, and I told her, and so she started that she was going to eat something else, and I said, well, will you just give it a try? You like Mexican? And she said, okay. And so I put her a little bit of the beans and chicken and stuff on a tortilla chip and blew it off for her. And she tried it, and she absolutely loves it. She said, in her words, it's amazing. So I like it, Cailyn likes it, and I'm really hoping that Randy likes it. So with all that being said, I'll let you see what it looks like. And it's pretty thick with all the beans and meat and stuff like that in it. Put 1 scoop of broth, and there it is. I have some leftover Mexican cornbread that I made a while back that I froze the leftovers, so I'm going to serve that with this, and that's going to be our supper. So there you have it. This should feed a lot of people, the amounts I used, but you know, of course, whatever amounts you use will depend on how many it feeds. But this is a real, I just am trying to impress. This is a really good recipe. I hope you try it, and I hope you love it. And thank you so much for watching. I always appreciate it. Have a wonderful evening, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.